My name is Kim Padan, but some of you have heard me speak before and you know me as Gabriel's mom. Gabriel was my little boy whom I lost when he was stillborn, 33 weeks into my pregnancy. He was born and died, and I had to say goodbye. My husband and I had to say goodbye far too early. This happened 20 years ago. Last Monday was Gabriel's 20th birthday. Now, I must admit that it hit me kind of hard this year. And I was mindful of the fact that grief is something that is a process that will last throughout our lives. Some of you lost your precious little one very recently. I can tell by the tears and by the mood that for some of you this loss is so recent and so intensely overwhelming that it probably took everything you had to come out of the house and be here tonight. And I get it. I understand. 20 is sort of a landmark birthday. Not that when we're 20 we get to do anything else differently, other than we're no longer teenagers. I guess maybe I was just feeling a little bit old, because Gabriel would be 20. But I'm thinking about all those things that I had dreamt about and had hoped for. That my son would possibly be in college. Or maybe like his dad, he would have gone into the Navy and served this great country. And it's really hard when you lose a child so young, because all these dreams that you envisioned, all these hopes and plans, good ones, were lost at no fault of your own. And that's something that I think is so important for us as mothers and fathers to realize. This is not our fault. It's confusing as all get out. It doesn't make sense on this side of eternity. It makes no sense at all. Why would God take our little babies? Whether you lost your child during pregnancy or at birth like I did, or as a young infant, I know that it's so easy to second guess and question everything. I can't count the number of times I wondered, did I eat something wrong? Did I overdo it at work? Did I not sleep enough? Did I do something? Could I have done something differently? But by God's grace, over time, I was able to feel the comfort and the reassurance of the Holy Spirit to say, no, Kim, this isn't your fault. And while this is sad for you now, there is a greater purpose in this. There is going to be great joy in all of this, despite the loss. And for those of you who have lost your child very recently, I realize this may be very hard to even comprehend. Will the pain ever go away? It will subside. But by my own testimony, a week ago I was crying a lot. So I am not going to give you some sort of false, rosy colored pictures of everything will be absolutely perfect and you'll never cry again. That would be silly, that would be foolish, and it would be a lie. There are days when I am just fine and days when I'm not. And it is okay for me and for you to cry. And it is okay for me and for you to reach out to someone and say, I miss my baby. And it is my message to all of you and all of you who are family members to hug each other and to go ahead and cry and to know there's nothing wrong with you. And if anyone has the nerve to say, get over it, I would say slap them in the face, but I really, that would be tempting. Take a deep breath and realize that they just don't have a clue. Find those people who have a clue. Find them and sit with them and talk with them. Go to your favorite place for lunch or coffee and cry a little bit. And then I want to encourage you to remember the joy that you experience with your child. Now, those of us who lost a baby during pregnancy or at birth, we don't have a whole lot of memories. But I want you to just dig deep and think about those special things. Maybe it was the first time you realized you were pregnant. Hopefully you were happy about it. Whether you saw 2 lines on a stick, you went to a doctor, you were happy about it. Because your child was real and is real. And every moment that you can remember is a treasure. Ultrasound pictures, hold on to them. I've often told the story of the first time I felt Gabriel move inside of me. Now, Gabriel had a lot of problems that were found at my first ultrasound. It was a routine ultrasound. I was 14 weeks, 2 days pregnant, exactly. And I was so happy, and then a couple of days later, I got a call from the doctor's office saying that there were problems. And I had a doctor tell me that I should consider my options. I'm devoutly pro-life, and I would never choose abortion, ever, and I didn't then. And I don't say that to gloat, I say that to let you know that even back then I treasured children from the moment of their conception. And I thank God for that, and I thank my parents for that, and I thank God for a loving husband who supported me and believed in the same things. But throughout my pregnancy, Gabriel was very, very tiny, and he was not healthy, and there were a lot of problems. But one sunny August afternoon, I was taking a nap, and I was lying down feeling kind of big, because, I was like 28 weeks pregnant, and I just felt this ripple across my belly. I got so excited. And then I felt the ripple go the other way. And he was moving. And it was a pure moment of joy. I didn't have a lot of those. But I believe that that moment of feeling my son move was a gift from God himself to reassure me of the reality of my son in my life and in my womb at that moment, so that I would have something to hold on to all these years later. When Gabriel was born, just after midnight on October 6th, we actually had a hospital chaplain come and baptize him, and we commended him into God's hands. He was greeted by both of his grandmas and a couple uncles and aunts. And a couple days later, we said our formal goodbyes with a funeral service. The church was packed with family and friends. Now, I will acknowledge, in fact, I was writing about it today, that much of the reason why we had so much support was because we knew that Gabriel was likely not going to survive. And we had shared this with our family and friends, and they were praying with us and for us. And so we were prepared for loss. Many of you had no warning. Many of you were experiencing a regular, typical, healthy pregnancy, and you had no clue that anything was wrong. For some of you, your loss hit you like a ton of bricks. And I feel so much heartache for you, because I imagine that the dreams you had for your children vanished in such an abrupt way. I can't even fathom what that was like. And maybe for you, people don't understand because they didn't have any warning either. It just happened. Some estimate that as many as 1 in 4 pregnancy ending naturally in miscarriage. It's hard to know because some women miscarry so early. It happens a lot. Please don't blame yourself. And for those of you who lost your children after birth, sometimes there's no warning there either. Sometimes you tuck your little one into bed, and the next day, she's gone. There's no warning and there's no perfect word that I can give you for comfort in those times, other than to say, please don't blame yourself. Please don't blame your partner. And as tempting as it may be, please don't be mad at God. I guess it can be natural and normal to shake our fists up at heaven and say, why? But trust in His plan for comfort for you. I'm guessing that you have some sense that there is something beyond this life, or you wouldn't be here today. If you just felt that this physical life is all we have, then nothing else would matter. So I imagine that you trust in another place where your child and my child are hanging out. Gabriel's been away from this physical earth for 20 years. Sometimes I imagine him as part of the welcoming committee up in heaven. I don't know if that's an official role. There's nothing scriptural about it. But yet I can kind of picture him showing all the little ones around and introducing those kids to the great saints and letting them know where all those cool rooms are up in heaven, taking them to the banquet table for the first time. I saw something on Facebook today, and I didn't write it down, but it was some little poem, and it kind of referenced the idea of an angel greeting mom and the baby at birth, but looking at the child and saying, this child is too beautiful for earth. Sometimes our kids are just that amazing that God needs them up in heaven to be with Him in all that wonderful glory. Sometimes our kids are just that perfect that God needs them as prayer warriors for us. See, our little ones who have gone are just so incredibly special. I talked about how Gabriel never snuck out of the house, never had a detention, never smarted off to me, never shoved a kid on the playground, never cussed, never broke the law, never got a D or an F on a paper. My kid was straight A perfect. And now he is healthy and happy and whole and waiting for me and his daddy Bruce to be in heaven with him someday. Like I said, I don't have any perfect words to give you to take away all the pain. I am not going to try that. I am not that powerful. I just want you to know that I understand, at least in some way, the pain that you are feeling. And just a few short days ago, I was feeling it all over again. So don't be upset with yourself, and don't feel bad or like you're sick or wrong or anything. If this grief goes away and comes back, it'll be up and down for a long time. That's okay. Rest assured that it just won't be so bad the next time around. The grief will subside. The pain will lift. And a peace that passes all understanding will embrace you and just embrace you and comfort you like no words can. Scripture tells us that the other side, heaven, is just so remarkable that we cannot even imagine what it's like. That no eye has seen and no ear has heard the great things and the beautiful things of heaven. And so, instead of me trying to give you any more words, I want to offer a piece of music here for you that's called Eye Has Not Seen. My good friend Mark is going to play the guitar for me, and hopefully my voice won't crack too much.